I'm Giavonne Rondo, host of Healthy Mind, Body, and Spirit, a show that's dedicated to the health and the wellness of our entire world, but with a particular focus on the African American community here locally. And today we're at this wonderful facility called Heart to Heart with the actual founder and director of this great facility.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to share Heart to Heart's mission with our audience. Yeah, we're at Heart to Heart conversation. Mm-hmm. So my name is Glynita Bell, and I am the founder and the clinical director of Heart to Heart Wellness Center. Mm-hmm. Heart to Heart was created to directly respond to needs I noticed in the community. Mm-hmm. The need for quality, comfortable, warm, inviting mental health services was a gap that was not being filled properly. We are all very familiar with large community mental health centers,
right,
that make clients feel very much like a number. Your story and your voice often isn't valued, and I don't think that that's intentional by the practitioners that work there. It is the volume of clients that are coming in, and it begins to feel like a workshop of some sort. Right. And the reality is that our mental health is likened to our physical health.
Vital.
Right?
Vital.
And it's imperative that each client is seen as a person, that you know their story. I know their sisters, I know their aunts, I know the family members' names, because that is vital to who you are as a person. If I don't understand you as you fit into the systems around you, how can I be effective working with you on your problems?
Wow, this is just amazing. And when you mentioned warmth, I felt that. As soon as I walked in, I felt the warmth of this wonderful facility.
Thank you.
That is amazing. And so we normally don't hear about warmth and mental health used in the same sentence. So that was intentional for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So in terms of just founding this wonderful facility overall, was there anything in particular that caused you to, from your personal experience, that allowed this facility to be about?
Well, I come from a family of helpers. Both my mother and father are members of St. Stephen's as well. And
woo, St. Stephen's in the house.
And my mom was an educator. She's retired now. And my father was an Army, or is an Army veteran, as well as had another career as a chef. And through whatever walk of life they had, they always were intentional about making direct contact with other people and helping where they could. And sometimes that included people staying Christmas break at our house, which I hated when I was a kid, but they definitely instilled values of being intentional about direct connection. And they did that through, not social work degrees and education. They did that through loving and caring about people directly. Wow. So watching that and then being able to add the professional skill set around it allowed me to want to create a wellness center that reached people exactly where they are. So we are a holistic wellness center because we really want to holistically help you to identify goals that you may have in your life and how you achieve them. So for us, we do that, again, anchoring our mental wellness through therapy, yoga, meditation. We offer massages, as well as our nurse practitioners who are able to really assess your physical body. And as you know, your physical body and your mental health.
Absolutely.
I mean, they work hand in hand.
Hand in hand. So this is truly a very holistic, like you're saying, wellness center here. Just truly you're focusing on the mind and also the spirit and also the body. Yes. With the nurse practitioners working here. So that is just absolutely amazing. So the services that you all actually offer, what types of, you mentioned the services, but what types of actual conditions do you treat or do you see here at the Heart to Heart Wellness Center?
Sure. We get a lot of children and adults. So that allows us to see
children too.
We do, starting at age 5. So kiddos and adults, so that gives us a variety of diagnoses that we work with. Excuse me. So for children, we're seeing a lot of attention deficit disorder or school-based behaviors that are interfering with their learning. And with our adults, we are seeing a lot of anxiety and depression that particularly upticked significantly through the pandemic. And from those things to grief and loss, additionally.
You know about that.
Yes, and everyone is experiencing something, and the pandemic has seemed to amplify those experiences.
Yes.
And so for people, they're finding that the coping skills that they had prior to the pandemic just aren't adequate with the world going upside down, right? And so we have to constantly be reevaluating what our self-care skill set is and that it matches what we have going on, because they don't always find themselves in alignment. So we work with people that are everyday, amazing human beings, just like me and you, working professionals that find themselves having a set of life challenges that are not exactly matching the coping skills that they've been utilizing.
Wow, you summed that up so well. Because during this pandemic, who isn't going through at least something? Something that, not just, like you mentioned, just the pandemic, but just all the different changes that are going on in the world. So in terms of the pandemic and its effect on Heart to Heart Wellness Center, sounds like you've had an uptick of seeing clients. But in what other ways has Heart to Heart been affected by the pandemic?
Well, the biggest change is that we are virtual. We went virtual March 17th of last year. Okay. And in the beginning, especially being in Indiana, we were getting pieces of information at a time, and every state is handling things differently. Yeah. But for me, it was imperative that I made a decision as the founder to keep my clients safe, to keep my staff safe, and to still be able to disseminate our services in a way that were going to be effective to our client base. So we went virtual, and of course we had all of the fun navigation because it was a split decision, and we had to do it. But therapy and nurse practitioner services, they're such an intimate service, especially therapy. I mean, I can't tell you how many times a day prior to the pandemic people hug you, and it's such an emotional experience. People are hugging and crying, and even joyful expressions. But either way, it was a very close proximity. So to think about trying to do that with mask on, it just didn't make a lot of sense. So we went virtual, and we are now able to offer all of our services minus massage virtually. Which
if you don't figure out a way to offer massage virtually, yes.
Then we will be rich.
Very. Yes. So this pandemic has really affected you in that way. Did you already have telemedicine or telehealth already in place even before? Okay.
We did.
Good.
I travel a lot personally, and so doing so I would need to be able to access my clients from wherever I was. So we did have the platform in place, but I was the only one that was utilizing it, and only on occasion. So fortunately for us, we weren't with the folks that were trying to get the account started, but getting all the staff and team onboarded to how to use it properly, and getting our clients comfortable with using it properly. And that was another step that I didn't anticipate, but directly calling clients and walking them through how to log on for their first appointment. Just a simple step, but allowed us to maintain the warmth that is so important for our business to make sure clients were comfortable.
Now, how do you maintain that warmth and that connectivity virtually? How do you do that?
It's something that I think our clinicians and the people that are drawn to want to be on this team just naturally are able to do. It's still human connection, right? We are separated by screen, but it's still human connection, and our skill set in evaluating our clients' eye contact and our clients' body language and the tone of their voice. None of those skills diminish because you're online. You kind of tap into them even more.
Even more so.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're looking and you're engaging, and we were able to do it that way. And then we also give our clients a lot of tips about how to effectively utilize their time with us online. So things from always keeping a therapy journal, just so you're able to keep notes about the things that you and your therapist are talking about.
So that's an important part of the treatment here, is actually keeping journals?
Absolutely.
Okay, wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We definitely recommend journaling for anyone, but especially as you're going through therapy. And I bet you guys would recommend this too from the medical perspective. When you're having a conversation with a medical professional or a therapeutic professional, you want to take away exactly what it is that you're implementing, because the goal is to change behavior. And it's easy to forget some of those small nuances or small steps if you're not writing that. So we often remind clients to light candles while they're having their session, using aromatherapy while they're having their session, essentially creating the space at home that feels as comfortable and as warm as we try to create here in the office, but doing that at home, which has turned out to be even more useful for clients, because they only were coming here for 1 hour once a week. They have that cozy, safe, warm spot at home that they can revisit multiple times throughout the week as they're thinking about or processing or doing their self-care time.
Now tell us more about the actual services. So you mentioned you do the therapy, and you advise journaling. You also advise the aromatherapy. Tell us how that helps.
Aromatherapy, our sense of smell, our olfactory system anyway, is so powerful.
It is.
It is so powerful. It just triggers that space in your brain that elicits emotion. It just triggers a response, and it triggers a memory, and we really want to pair relaxation with a scent. Here we use it's a white fig and green tea is the name of the scent. But we encourage our clients to utilize something that feels warm for them and inviting for them. And a lot of clients will identify scents from childhood.
Oh, really?
Childhood smells. They remember this, smell at grandma's house, and they have a candle that they found at, Walmart or Bath and Body Works that smells like that. And they'll
try to buy tons of it so they can continue that smell. That's awesome.
And then so to intentionally pair those things, it's nice to stop and think about, like, that does feel good. This feels like a comfortable space.
Awesome. So aromatherapy, let's see, the journaling. You also mentioned massage and touch therapy.
Absolutely. Okay. So our massage therapists are wonderful. Being that they work on such an integrative team. I think most massages elicit the common comment is, wow, you're really tight here, right? Because most people are saying that when you have this big knot here. Exactly. And everyone carries their tension right here in their shoulders and upper back. So as our massage therapists are saying that, the clients typically, whether they're here or anywhere else, will say, fill in the blank, this thing is going on in my life. Almost like when you're at a hair salon, you kind of just accidentally spill out things that you may not have wanted to discuss. So for us here, it's really fantastic that the massage therapist can just follow up and say, well, we have some really great people here that you can talk to about that if you so choose.
Wow. Truly holistic. This is absolutely amazing. So massage, aromatherapy, journaling. What other services?
Meditation. We do meditation classes virtually currently. And meditation is similar to yoga in the sense that it is designed to calm the body and allow you to get more spiritually reflective. Okay. It just opens you up for more self-awareness. And it just...
Is it that kind of be still? Just truly be still, be more just quiet into yourself?
Our meditation is wanting to call you to push pause on the world for a little while, but we are doing guided meditation. So you're going to get an instructor that will walk you through a topic for the evening. So last week she did sleep meditations, and I got a lot of feedback that they went really well, and people were like, I am entirely too relaxed and it's only 6 o'clock, I still have things to do. But so from sleep meditations to meditations focusing on overcoming anxious thoughts and feelings. But essentially, all the services are intended to build upon one another. So if you and your therapist are working on anxiety specifically, and you attend an anxiety meditation, you're going to hear some of the echoes of your therapy sessions, because everything is going to be infused with our cognitive behavioral therapy techniques.
Okay. Awesome. And so is this also for children? Can children participate in these activities?
We have not had a specific child-only class yet, but actually all of our instructors are trained to do classes with children.
Okay.
So we would like to do that in the future. And I will say that all of our memberships are for the household. I just thought that was the most fair way to do it. And everyone, as we said, is experiencing this change in the world together. So we definitely have families that are participating in the classes together,
Okay.
but we have not yet do a child-only class, although we should.
Okay. So really family-oriented services as well. So awesome. Just talking with you has been so relaxing, and this has just been a wonderful experience. So a couple other questions that I do have. As we go through this, unfortunately, we're continuing to go through this pandemic and have a need for different services that people may not have explored before. Sometimes there's hesitancy, because we talked about anxiety, we talked about depression, talked about ADHD, different things that maybe children may have. Sometimes these things are a little more uncomfortable for us as African American community, as a Christian, community. Tell us why. Do you have any rationale for why that is, and what we could do about it?
I think that culturally we have not always been able to access services or feel like they were for us. I think that, as I'm thinking all the way back through our history here in this country, our access to services have not been the same. And things that seem very normal to the mainstream population, such as therapy or dental services, or even seeing your physician on a regular basis for preventive care, it was not accessible to us because of finances, because of institutional racism that has occurred. So as we are stepping into 2021, I'm really optimistic that our culture recognizes that we should have access, and where we don't have access, we need to demand that access. We absolutely have the right to receive mental health services, because if anyone...
Yes, that's what I was going to say. If anyone has been, not just with this pandemic, but just with our history, if anyone needs services that help us in terms of our mental state, it's us.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
us. And so we have to, like you're saying, we have to go and actually go for it and not be hesitant about it, because we do need it. We have been, I hate to say it, but kind of injured. We've been damaged. We've been traumatized by a lot of different things throughout our history, generationally. So
yes,
this is something. So this, facility in and of itself is one great step to helping us with that whole trauma.
Yes, and I think because of our lack of access, we've always gone for what we know, which is our religion. And somehow along the way, some people have gotten the message that it's God or therapy. And I really like to emphasize that it's God and therapy, right? Together. It is something that you absolutely can have both. And here we really emphasize spirituality as a component of mental wellness. It's imperative.
Absolutely. I think our pastor mentions, it's prayer and it's pills together. Yeah, it's prayer and it's pills. It's meditation and also medicine, together can actually help. The unfortunate death of Breonna Taylor, and also afterwards, the unfortunate death of George Floyd, has just been highlighted for the world to see. So how has that, affected the mental state? And then what kinds of things would you advise to help?
I think that has affected so many of us in so many different ways. I think the African American community, there's layers. The anxiety and the depression and the sadness and the grief and the loss of seeing someone that could be your sister, could be your brother, being brutalized by police. It fractures your sense of safety. And when that happens and you lose that sense of stability, it allows you then to feel very vulnerable. And so we got a lot of people reaching out just because you feel so vulnerable and you just want to speak to someone about how do I stabilize these feelings, because what it usually is a tipping point into the other spaces of your life that already probably had some things working. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was a big factor. The other side of the coin is our mainstream population of clients, our Caucasian clients, were really interested in how to be an ally. And those were conversations that, as I thought about how those events would impact my work, I didn't think about that part. I see a lot of children. I had a lot of mothers asking me, how do I broach this with my child, my white child that I've never talked to
about racial issues
at all.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. I did not feel as prepared, but it was a silver lining to see people wanting to engage in these conversations for the purpose of creating change in their own children.
Wow. And that's amazing that opened up a conversation that you normally would not have, or they would not, the white parents would not have conversations with their children, maybe until they're much older or until,
Right.
something, in their personal life happens that causes that conversation to occur. But to have that in such a huge, worldwide kind of event. So that's wow. So in terms of with African American children, that's something that we've talked about on Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit, the effects of all this trauma with African American children. And so you as a therapist, are there things that we as African American parents and caregivers and guardians and people who just love children or who take care of children can do to help our children through this?
I think it's so important to create a safe space with kids so they find their voice. Children are so intelligent, so resilient, so capable of using skill sets or coping skills to move through traumatic events. Where the challenge is we often don't give them the space where they feel comfortable expressing what they need, or that they've had these thoughts, or that they had these feelings. And we very often do simple check-ins like, hey, are you okay, right? And that gives you a very simple response of, yeah, everything's fine. And you want to, outside of building the relationship with the child, that they feel comfortable talking to you, you want to model how you handle your feelings. So instead of just...
try not to, don't necessarily hide everything, or just try to make them think that nothing is going on.
Right. You want to model the appropriate way to handle feelings. And that doesn't mean that we're perfect and that as adults we handle our feelings perfectly all the time, because we don't. But we do want to intentionally model how to handle difficult or big feelings for children. So instead of just saying, how are you? Or how did you feel about that? That would normally elicit a very short response.
Right.
When they give you that short response, if you did ask that question, you can then follow up and say, well, for me, I know how I felt when I saw that was this. Did you feel that way? And then that begins a conversation. And when you have conversations with children, real conversations where you're both participating, it is incredible what thoughts and feelings and ideas they've had about things that are so insightful, and then sometimes very off target, that need us as adults to correct. But if we're not creating a space where children feel engaged and valued and that their voices are heard and there's a space that they want to fill with their voice, we're not going to have the opportunity to do that for them.
Wow. You have enlightened me. I have a 10-year-old, and so I find sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get things out. So thank you for bringing that up. Not just, asking those kind of, direct questions, but more open into questions and actually participating in the conversation by putting myself in as well. Wow, thank you. I need to talk with you more. So on the Healthy Mind, Body, and Spirit, we talk a lot about ways to be healthy from a mind, body, and spirit perspective. So we like to talk about it, but we also like to be about it. So in what ways are you being about a healthy mind, body, and spirit for yourself, Glynita Bell?
Well, my days are long. So owning the Wellness Center, I also see clients here in the Wellness Center, and I am full-time faculty at Spalding University.
Wow.
Teaching.
Professor. Whoa.
Graduate students. And it's a lot to juggle,
That's
right? So you have a lot of hats that you have to wear. And what I have found to be very effective for me is starting my morning with my devotional. It is how I set my intention and my tone for the day. And then I try to find the meaning of that devotional throughout the day, because things always come up. Always come up. And they don't, things don't go the way that you anticipated them to go, at least a couple times throughout the day. As I'm jumping between all of these different hats that I'm wearing, something is going to go awry. And when it does, it helps me to bring it back to how I started my day and what my intention that I set was for my day. So that's how I try to keep my spirit in alignment.
Yeah. Now, I have to ask you something. With that, when you did that in the morning, how do you bring it back to your remembrance? Because I found myself doing that too. Like, okay, early in the morning I'm good, but in the middle of the day, how do I bring that back? Do you actually have like little sticky notes? Do you keep it going in your head, or?
I don't. I think for me, it's just practice and intentionality of it. Because for me, the opposite of intention and calm is anger and frustration. And anger and frustration in any of the spaces I just described is not helpful. It's not helpful.
Yes.
So my immediate response is that you feel everything ticking up, right? And so my response to that emotional response is, what is my intention that I set for my day? And then I usually will insert some breathing exercises there. And I mean, I'm telling you multiple times throughout the day, because the alternative to that is not pleasant. I'm not very nice to people when I get that upset. So I don't like to spew my negative emotions on people. So to keep myself in check, your body very intentionally speaks to you. When you feel anger, when you feel frustration, it's your body telling you that you need to do something about this. Well, I know what it is I need to do. I need to remind myself of what my intention is. I need to calm myself by using my deep breathing. And now I need to focus on what a solution is to this problem.
So the action. So you can go back to what you remembered in the morning, do that deep breathing technique that helps you to kind of decompress, whether it's that anger or that anxiety, and then take action on what you can do.
Right.
Wow. Thank you. I feel like I owe her copay. She's giving me a therapy session right here.
I love it.
On TV. Yes. Thank you so much. This has been so enlightening. Glynita Bell with Heart to Heart Wellness. So she has come on the Healthy Mind, Body, and Spirit show, and we've come into this facility to highlight, again, mental health and mental awareness for our community. It's so vitally important to focus on helping ourselves from a mental perspective, because the mind really does affect the body in a significant way. So we want to make sure that we know about resources like Heart to Heart Wellness Center that will help us to bring things back into better alignment. And also being culturally relevant and sensitive is very important for our community. So this is another great facility that we have that we didn't know. This is what I call a hidden gem. We have the Hidden Figures, the movie or whatnot, but this is a hidden gem right here in our community. And you're located here in New Albany, Indiana.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So just a nice little drive from, Louisville, Kentucky. And where can people reach you in terms of website?
Our website is hearttoheartservices.com.
Okay, very simple, very easy. And this is Giavonne Rondo again with Healthy Mind, Body, and Spirit.